Welcome back to another Big 3 review. My name is Shonen, and luckily my hero's on break this week, so we only have 2 chapters to talk about, one of which is really quick because I don't want to spend too much time being right. My son Yuta cleared Sendai Colony in record time, about the same amount of chapters it took for Megami to beat Register. So, very happy about that. So, clearly, we're going to start with Jujutsu Kaisen 180. I believe so. Yeah, 180. The ending, the climax of the Sendai Colony. Yuta versus Ishigori. And, yeah, so this chapter just basically starts off where it picked up, or where it ended out later, or previously. So, we got the 1v2, I guess. I was going to say 1v1, but I forget that Rika exists. The 1v2 scenario of Yuta and Rika versus Ishigori. Ishigori kind of gives up almost a fight. You know, he proves himself to be a threat. He's a little bit more powerful than Yuta in terms of cursed energy output, but Yuta's very, very resourceful. So he's able to easily navigate around it. Uses Udo's technique. Apparently the condition to be met, according to Ishigori's understanding, to steal Udo's technique, or to steal a curse technique, is to, I guess, devour part of that person, or for Rika to consume some of her cursed energy or something like that. But the panel that's referenced is when Rika eats Udo's severed arm. So assuming that is true, then the only way for Yuta to get Ishigori's cursed technique now is to have Rika eat him or something like that, now that he's dead. Which is pretty funny considering that Ishigori is all about, eating a full course meal, getting his dessert. So pretty I guess fitting way for him to end there. But yeah, at first Ishigori thinks, hey, Yuta just used Udo's technique and he just used my technique. So he's like really confused as to how, after just understanding the condition that needs to be met there, that Yuta's able to just use his own curse technique. But no, use Udo's to redirect his attack and to basically like smite him as if like I don't know, it was like a real godly thing for Yuta to do, is just straight down. Pretty awesome way to end it. And Yuta's smiling at the end, which is really nice. He's really enjoying himself. He doesn't seem to enjoy fighting, but fighting someone like Ishigori, who clearly is only there for fighting. He's not there for any malicious reason. He just wants a strong battle. He's able to go out. He's able to take him out in an honorable way, I guess. And that's the end of that chapter. I assume that we're gonna get like one more chapter with Yuta. Maybe him like talking to Ishigori the same way that Megami was like, talking Register through his last words. So potentially Yuta devouring, or like explaining how he steals curse techniques to Ishigori, or just stealing Ishigori's curse technique there. Maybe Rika's timer runs out before we get that, but I'm assuming the next chapter is going to start off with the ending of that, wrapping up Sendai Colony, potentially some like more Kenjaku stuff, like a quick tease as to what Kenjaku's doing, and moving on to the next. But there's not really much else to do, right? Like maybe I know Hakari some people on Twitter were talking about like how we might get a Hakari 1v1, like someone has to die, it might be Hakari. So maybe we get something like that. But yeah, I'm assuming it's just gonna move on to the next stage. Maybe we get something with Megami and the Angel. But I assume if we're going around in a rotation, right? I'm assuming it's gonna be a rotation. Then we should get Yuji, or we should get Tengen. Like we should either get like not a lore dump, but just like an update on everything that's happening through Tengen, or we should just go back to Yuji, see what Yuji's doing. But all in the effort of like, all right, now we're starting to gather everyone around. All the battles are finished. Let's cycle around, kind of like how My Hero was last week, where on the way for Deku, the beginning of that chapter starts off with Deku basically just like trying to get back to Shigaraki. We kind of get an update on everything going around. So we might get like Yuji running back. We might get Megumi waking up. but then the rest of the chapter is going to be, I don't know, like, sorry, not that is first, but like I'm still assuming Yuta is going to be there in the beginning, but then if we had like a quick snippet of, you know, updates to what everyone else is doing, while I guess story-wise traveling back to, you know, the headquarters, whatever their base is right now. That's what I'm assuming we're gonna get. But yeah, it was crazy. I was thinking there wasn't much to talk about, but apparently there was 6 minutes of Jujutsu Kaisen to talk about, so great. And with that, move on to One Piece 1045. I don't think there's a break next week, which is awesome. But I'm not even gonna go in order. First thing I want to talk about is, well, actually, first thing I want to talk about is Yamato's reactions here, because we got like 7 panels of just the same Yamato reaction of just, oh my god, what's happening? And I feel like Yamato and Momo is supposed to just be us reacting to everything that's happening. So right into it, Giant Luffy, it exists now. It's a thing. We've all been speculating, hey, Gear 5th or the Awakening would see, not the birth of, but like the confirmation that Luffy can turn his entire body into a giant. We got that this chapter. The setup for everything Luffy does was fire. The setup for the giant specifically, of him just like laughing after, like, you know, confusing Kaido, like popping out of his eyes, like, you know, he's turning everything into rubber, right? Popping out of Kaido's eyes, laughing about it, zooming up into the clouds, disappearing, and then we get the reaction from Yamato and Momo, and then boom, giant Luffy. And I'm surprised he didn't step. Like he is in the silhouette that Nika is, so it's like giant Luffy. If no one from the Flower Capital saw that happen at all for even a split second, I'm gonna be pissed off, because that's quite a large figure to miss. Yeah, he's in Sun God Nika stance there. It really looks like it, but you know, it's not made obvious there. But you know, he's got like the same pose there. Yeah, giant Luffy immediately gets chomped though by Kaido, and then uses him as a jump rope. Like, what the hell, man? Takes a blast breath to the face, and you know, we got the announcers, I guess the commentators of Luffy and of Momo and Yamato there, which is great. But oh my god, the reactions from everyone when Luffy's punched with the Ragnarok and his head goes straight through the ceiling, and everyone's just like terrified. I'm assuming that's not just a joke thing. Like, yeah, clearly it's mainly a joke thing, but like, I'm assuming everyone's reactions there are like their heart skipped a beat, because this giant cartoonish figure's eyes just popped into existence basically, and they don't even know it's Luffy, right? So you know, that's pretty great stuff. That's I don't know, man. I enjoyed the entirety of this chapter, beginning to end, because we get like all this Looney Tunes stuff, but we're still getting a great fight. Like, it's still really funny, and it's great that the tables have turned on Kaido now, because before it was him joking around. Like, we got the really funny drunken Kaido stages, and now we're just getting Luffy awakened stages, or not even stages, just like I guess not semantics, theatrics, no, antics. We're getting Gear 5 Luffy antics, and Kaido's just having to deal with it. Also, since like full table turn here, Kaido's running out of energy. Like right when he tells Luffy, "Who the hell are you?" Because Luffy's just like, you know, doing his own thing, or like right after Luffy decides like, "Oh, I have nothing left in the tank." Actually, you're right. Kaido's just like pissed off. He's like, "What the hell? What the hell's going on here? I'm really confused." And then he takes a knee because he's nearly done. Chapter ends with Luffy punching right through Kaido, which we have precedent for, right? Luffy's awakened, so his awakening can affect the surroundings, and so Kaido's a surrounding. You know, he can affect users. Punches right through him, but if you pay attention to the way that the panel works, right, or the way that the poses works, we get a straight shot through Kaido's face, pops out the other side, and the very next panel is Luffy hooking it. So I'm assuming that means he didn't snap back and then just give the byaw, right? He punched through and then went all the way through. So technically he came out of Kaido's head all the way through. Like fist through, if you're looking at the side angle, and then also broke through this right here. I'm great at diagrams. But I'm assuming that is the Logia form of his awakening, because we get in the beginning, Kaido. Everyone was wondering like if Luffy would be told that his fruit is actually a Hito Hito no Mi, or if he'd be told that his fruit was a zone, not a paramecia. Kaido, so I forget who it was that was like, maybe Kaido tells him because he recognizes the fruit, but had nothing to do with Kaido recognizing the fruit. It had everything to do with Kaido just recognizing devil fruits in general. Just like, this is your surroundings are being affected like a paramecia, but you had transformed. So clearly this is a zone type transformation. I'm very confused. And what's up, kitty? I forgot to introduce the kitty and the lamb chop. So these are the homies. These are protectors. These are my hitters right here. So Luffy's like basically told he doesn't care. He's nonchalant. He's like in the middle of a battle, relaxing, hands behind his head. He can float now. This is great. But Kaido kind of explains to him, and I think that that last page that we got there of him punching right through Kaido is basically the Logia thing. Maybe Luffy can't turn himself into rubber that gets punched through, but he can punch through things. Like Logia users, if you don't have Haki on you, your arm goes right through them. It doesn't affect them. Luffy, on the other hand, he's punching right through. And also, we get like the spike Luffy, the spike coming out of his mouth. He's like reshaping. So I think that's the closest we get to a Logia there. Because Paramecia is supposed to be like dishing out what they are, right? We get the mochi fruit with Katakuri. We don't have that with Luffy, but the awakening is Paramecia. And I guess the fact that he is so durable, or you can punch right through him, is supposed to be the Logia type of thing. But that's a theory. I think it's also possible that this is just what happens when you awaken and use color of armament and Conqueror's Haki, because Kaido also does mention that he's just like this pure white form, also confirmation, it's pure white. I don't know if that means that the hair is on fire and then the rest of Luffy is pale white, or what the colorway is there. I can't wait till we get the official though, but I'm enjoying the hell out of all of the fan maids in the meantime. But it could also be like a armament conqueror situation where you can not touch them and punch inward, but now that Luffy's awakened Paramecia part to his fruit is there, he can literally punch through people, but the armament color of Conquerors is kind of helping him push all the way through. Again, I think it's just an awakening thing. I'm trying to stretch here. To get the Logia in there, but I don't know. Maybe we might see the Logia. Maybe his hair is supposed to be the Logia part of that, right? Like part of the transformation. Not too sure, but obviously we need to see a Logia ability there, and maybe we get that in a different fight. Maybe we get that not now, but I think Luffy's like a chapter away from beating Kaido. Like we might get 2 chapters more of this, especially if it's like stretched out. Like if we get reactions from different people, like next chapter kind of goes away from this fight and starts to focus on everyone going, what the hell did we just see, right? Like understanding Luffy's new form from different perspectives. But if not, if the next 2 chapters are like focused on Luffy and Kaido, I think we get a nice little flashback chapter, and then we get the ending. It'd be great if we got 2 flashback chapters, like a nice full-on rock story. If we just cut from this fight completely, I would not be mad. I would love to just get some lore dump, some history before the end of this fight here. Not even like, I guess I'd be satisfied to some extent if most of that was not flashback, but Kaido just explaining, hey, just telling Luffy stuff before he I guess dies or like loses, because he realizes this kid's got so much more stamina right now. I'm nearly dead. Let me cut out. But yeah, I'd more appreciate the flashback itself, but I would not mind just some exposition from Kaido here, just to give any type of context to what the hell we're seeing here. And maybe you can put that side by side with I guess the ignorant Straw Hat crew and everyone else fighting on Onigashima, and then as they're trying to speculate what they're seeing, Kaido's telling it to Luffy and us, basically being like, hey, here's what you're doing. That'd be great as well. As for Luffy, I don't know if this means his lifespan is just getting shorter and shorter with every second that he's using this. Like, I did call a couple weeks ago, or maybe 2-3 weeks ago, but I did talk about how, you know, this new form would potentially be like Gon's transformation from Hunter x Hunter, where, you know, yeah, it's super powerful, but clearly it's eating away at his life. It's like you're sacrificing decades of your life to achieve this form. So, you know, maybe it's something we don't see ever again. Maybe this giant form of Luffy is something we cannot see after Onigashima because it's just gonna be too much. Maybe we get at the end, and or maybe this is where Law dies, right? Like, I'm assuming that if we keep bringing death flags of Luffy, and the death flags just get stronger and stronger because of his new forms, then, you know, in order for him to use his newest form, or in order for him to progress, Law's gonna have to sacrifice his life, reset Luffy's lifespan, so that way he can go all out for the last war, for the last arcs, or whatever. Although I still see Law making it to Laugh Tale. I think it'd be super powerful, super sad to have him die right before then, but I can't see him dying right now, right? Like, he just awakened, he just had a moment, you know, with Kid. I feel like we have to get more traveling with Law and Kid. You know, maybe there's a way for Oda to spin it where, you know, Law dies here, he sacrifices himself, but, you know, Kid carries on his will because they just fought together, and Kid decides, I'm going to chill with Luffy from now on. I just don't think that'll happen, but, you know, maybe possible, you know, just possible prediction as to how Luffy's able to continue fighting. I just don't think he's going to have to fight too much longer, but just in case that's the scenario we get. The only problem I would have with that is just, you know, other than Law just basically expressing his need to continue on here, and then just dying right after, it'd be kind of weak. But how the hell are we gonna have time for the surgery right now, right? You know, if Law dies right here in Onigashima, how are they gonna get that? You know, there's not enough time for that. So maybe he dies on the way to Elbaf, right? Elbaf, sorry. You know, maybe after everything wraps up here, Law and Kid, everyone is like, you know, healing and whatnot. Luffy's knocked out, and his voice, like Momo said, is still fading. Right after this fight, Luffy's voice is strong as hell. Fight ends, and it just starts to dissipate because he's knocked out, and he can't continue making his heart beat stronger. So as he's asleep, he's actually dying and dying and dying. And so when Luffy wakes up in Elbaf, we realize Law is no longer there. He's pissed, and it's because, you know, Law performed the surgery on him. That'd be pretty cool, because at least Law makes it out of Onigashima, and at least there's time for the surgery. But I just feel like it'd be really upset. I'd be upset if Law died, like, before we got to Laugh Tale. Like, he doesn't have to make it to Laugh Tale, but, like, if he dies on the way to Elbaf, that's pretty whack to me. I think it hit harder. I would still be pissed, but it would hit a lot harder, and I think it'd be a little bit more meaningful if Law died just before they got to Laugh Tale, because it'd be like a Levi and Erwin situation where, you know, if Erwin died, you know, season 2 or season 3, that's not nearly as cool as him dying right next to the basement, like in Shiganshina. So this is Attack on Titan reference for anyone who's confused by the names I'm using right now, but yeah, I feel like it'd be more impactful that way. And then also, you know, Kid could be there. I think Kid, if Law dies, Kid has to be there to carry on his will, type of thing. But speaking of wills, we do have, you know, I think at the least confirmation that part of what's keeping Luffy, you know, on beat here, and this could also just have nothing to do with his lifespan, right? Like, because Kaido does say, hey, you're going to kill yourself if you continue on. And coming from Kaido, I think Kaido's a reliable enough source. You know, he knows enough, especially about Conqueror's Haki, and imbuing your attacks with Conqueror's Haki, so that, you know, if he says, continuing to fight this way, you're going to kill yourself, you know, I would not take that with a grain of salt. I think that is, you know, to be taken very seriously. So if Luffy continues to fight, he's more likely to die. He's more likely to just keep cutting away from his lifespan. But the alternate theory that I completely slid off to a tangent before getting to was, you know, Luffy remembering all the people, all the wills that he's carrying is what's actually continuing his lifespan on. Kind of a My Hero situation where we go from all of this, yo, Deku, you're scarred now. You're not going to be able to use your limbs if you keep using One For All 100%, to actually you are the perfect person to use One For All. So you can continue using them. You're definitely not going to lose your limbs. You know, it's just your body just wasn't ready for it. Now that we know that your body is perfect for it, you know, you can go all out as much as you want. But I mean, in faux 100% right now. But once he gets to 100% real, you know, it's not like he will be affected negatively. So maybe that's the situation we get with Luffy. It would kind of take away some of the stakes, right? You know, we have all these Luffy death flags. But that's to just be taken away just because he's, you know, awakened and stuff. Kind of be weak again. Again, we have Law. We have Law there to die. Maybe this is all, you know, a lie, right? Maybe Luffy does overcome lifespan, you know, manipulation or lifespan cutting, but, you know, Robin is the one who nearly dies, and so Law has to save her, right? Because you do have a moment between Law and Robin where Law's like, yo, I'm trying to figure out this Will of D, and so he gives it to her, and he's just like, yo, you live on, you go teach everyone how to read the poneglyphs just in case something like this happens again, and you carry on my will, and then, you know, you tell the world about the Will of D or something like that. And then maybe Robin ends up, you know, doing the Ohara thing, restarting Ohara in, you know, Law's, I can't remember the town he's from, but like in his town. Again, spin foil. But possibility, right? Just possible ways that things can go. I still think, though, Luffy's will here has to, like, he has to be, like, eating away at his lifespan, and it gets more dangerous and dangerous, but the fact that his will is so strong, too strong, like I said last week, too strong to die, right? Like, this part of Joy Boy's will, Joy Boy was super awakened like Luffy is right now, and he, you know, was just as, you know, just as powerful and whatnot, just as versatile with the way he uses the fruit. But, you know, it just eats away at the lifespan, so Joy Boy is forever supposed to be like a short-lived person, you know. But yeah, I think yeah, we definitely have to have a talk or have some explanation as to, you know, whether or not it's going to be Luffy's will overcoming death, because he does talk about death does not scare him. So maybe if death doesn't scare you, it can't really get to you, right? Because everyone else is all talking, like, throughout the whole entirety of One Piece, every time Luffy's lifespan is like mentioned or something like that, he doesn't care. So everyone else is just like, this is definitely gonna eat away. He's just like, I don't care. Do what you gotta do. I don't care about dying right now. Like, since the beginning, Luffy has not been afraid of death. So maybe that's key. Maybe it does eat away at you. I mean, it does make him weaker. Maybe so that he does come close to death. But so long as, like, you know, he's not afraid of it, he will always be at 1 HP. He won't ever hit 0, right? Because we clearly saw him die just now and come right back to life. So, you know, maybe that's the balance there. It's just like he can get to 1 HP, and once he's knocked out, you can technically kill him. You can stab him, do whatever you want. Once he's, like, you know, completely depleted of all his haki and stuff, and that's the way to kill Luffy. But maybe that's a little too cheap. I can't see how that would be cheap right now, but maybe it's a little too cheap. There was one last thing I wanted to talk about. I might be blanking out on it right now. Oh, no, yeah. Which is, I think that Luffy's awakening here will definitely not be explained in Elbaf, but it seems like every island, or just like the way that ever since the introduction of Sun God Nika, it's kind of like every island has their own interpretation of this god, and they're all talking about the same god, right? Everyone is basically talking about Nika. You know, Hyogoro talks about the god of fire. They don't have a name for it. He just says the god of fire. Who's Who mentions to Jinbei that this god of fire is actually named Sun God Nika, and I don't know if Skypiea had a name for it, but I assume that they also pray to a similar god, right? They pray to, you know, they have the similar festival to the flower capital here with the whole fire and whatnot. So maybe every island has like a different interpretation or a different name for this god, but Elbaf is going to give us the lore behind it, because I think personally Luffy looks a lot like an elf right now. Like, he looks like one of these like white elves or something like that, and maybe with the colorway, like, I feel like, you know, his nose looks a lot more pointier. Like, with the fire up. It just makes him feel like an elf. And then I think when we get to Elbath, you might get an explanation on that. You know, might get like actual picture of Nika or something like that. Or, you know, I think at the very least some type of lore that would frame him as such a thing, like this type of mythical creature that, you know, it doesn't look like a person who just happens to be the god of fire. It looks more like, you know, this mythical creature. So that's the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about. That's my last little prediction. There is, you know, hey, Luffy as an elf confirmed, I think. But that's all I really got to talk about. I made some predictions of what I think will happen next week. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be on break next week, but My Hero's coming back. I don't think One Piece is on break. But the anime is still on break, so I don't know why I haven't caught up yet, but I'll be very busy next weekend because we got some new seasonal anime coming out, so I'll be watching everything that I can. But until then, yeah, my name is Bife. No, my name is Weekly Shonen, and yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, great week. I will see you Tuesday. Bye.